a whole bunch of like high skill players ready to go. And the thing is, they've been able to play in darkness too. Like, I actually wonder how good SKP scouting is, because their Elise and Kale are just very typical bans right now.
Yeah, the only typical bans we're not seeing is Mundo and Shyvana. And with a top laner like Zoro Zero, if you give him one of those champions, it's going to be really hard to deal with in the end game. He's also known for creating problems mid-game, even like with something like Renekton. Shove up his lane, roam down to the middle, and create havoc for the rest of your team.
And we'll see what they go with here.
Yeah, I mean, no top lane bans. So top lane is free for all now. This is going to be exciting.
And Nukeduck didn't get many of his assassins removed either. Right, Talon, Zed, like any of those guys are still there. Fizz still up as well. Looks like they're looking at the Lee Sin for first jungler. We've got Vi, Wukong, and Elise all banned out. So 3 jungle bans and a Lee Sin picked up first for NIP.
All right, Lee Sin, very versatile jungler. Probably going to go into the jungle, like we said. Zoro Zero's got his pick of top laners. If you have everything open right now, I don't think that your first choice would be Lee Sin, so probably will be a jungler.
Could be support.
Could
see
be
it
support.
Once in a while.
You're right. You're right. Actually,
unlikely possibility
as well.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Only one support ban coming through, and right away the Jinx locked in for SK Prime. That's all kinds of fun for them. Thresh here to support as well from 6.
All right, nice duo lane right here. Everybody always talks about the main 3 supports and the main 3 AD carries. Picking 2 right off the bat. This is a really good pairing for Jinx because she gets the escape that she does not have in her kit, the Lantern. And with the combos being harder to land now in this patch, your Flame Choppers take a little bit longer to arm. Going with the Leona or the Annie that would love that double stun combo is a little bit harder to pull off. So going with the safer route here with Thresh, I like a little bit of adjustment.
All right, so there we go. We're going to see these guys come in here in NIP. Ooh, looking for a little bit of something different here. Now, Freeze has been playing a bunch of Sivir on live of late. His top 3, Jinx, of course, stolen away Sivir, but also Draven. A couple players have been picking up Draven in the recent past, and I know Doublelift called that Draven one of the few champions actually laned well against Jinx and Lucian. So he's going to save that for now, see where it goes. He was actually one of the only Draven players back before when the bleed was still in there as well. So one of the first ones we adopted, I suppose. But NIP going to lock in the Leona support, the Renekton top lane there. We talked about 0-0 making plays with him. He's got it.
So Renekton, not really touched in this patch. He's still just a complete beast up in the top lane. And like we said before, Zoro Zero is one of the top laners that not only will he beat his lane, but then he's also going to look to invade your jungle or swing middle and take that lead from top lane, have it actually affect the game, which is really hard to do as top laners. We always talk about them being stuck up on islands. He does take the time to try and influence the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think the Chinese teams did among the best at kind of pulling their top laners down. I used to see that a lot from these guys. But the Trundle and Shyvana both picked up here. My guess is that's actually top lane Trundle there. They did run this last time we saw this. Mozilla had a fun matchup. He was fighting Riven that time, but even still going to have probably a good time in this one. And Nukeduck is going to get himself a LeBlanc for the blind pick mid.
Yeah, so that Trundle that you were just talking about, it's sort of popular in Europe challenger scene because of the one team, the Cloud9 European challenger team.
Yeah.
Their top laner loves Trundle, and so since they beat a lot of these guys in scrims, and everyone, all the other top laners over there are kind of like, yeah, Trundle, we need to get on that. It's like the second coming, like after the Warwick top lane. It's probably going to be the next up and coming thing is Trundle top lane. He'll be super popular.
Yeah, and as soon as, if Cloud9 Eclipse makes it to LCS, they play their first game, Trundle gets banned, he's going to be like, yeah, they banned my Trundle. He's going to be a trendsetter there. NIP Freeze, though, still to make his last choice with this one. Looking for Lucian here. So Lucian, Leona lane versus Jinx, Thresh. Mid lane LeBlanc, and the lineup is here for NIP.
It's an exciting matchup here. I mean, I think the advantage for SKP would be in the ganks, because Lantern-assisted ganks are one of the few lanes that either a Trundle or Shyvana, whichever one ends up in the jungle, can actually pull off.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if there's no jungle interference, I really like the Nip duo lane here, because while the Leona and Jinx combo is a little bit harder to pull off with the stuns being a little bit further apart, Leona Lucian still works wonders. If they get an early level 2 and they can go all in on you, it's even hard to get away. You have to pretty much burn all of your summoners to get out of that situation. So we'll have to see if he can start with the Targons. A lot of times we'll see those Leonas get that just so they can early shove the lane, use the execute, and get that advantage.
Oh, and of course, the last pick coming through here for Exila is going to be the Zed here in the mid lane. Of course, not a lot of mid lane bans coming out at all. Actually, 0 from NIP, so getting his pick of the litter. Going to play some Zed up here versus LeBlanc. And just to note, by the way, if you didn't know, Yasuo is global banned right now. We are on 4.1. So Rengar's back, but no one's grabbed it.
That's the upside there. Rengar is back.
Rengar is back here. But yeah, we're not, of course, the Trundle Yasuo comp can't happen, unfortunately, right now for SKP until we get the hot fixed out. We are here, of course, the end of Champ Select. Pretty fun lineups. Again, you talked about the dual lanes. I actually like Zed here against LeBlanc. It was a champion I was expecting to see from Xyla in the first place.
Yeah.
But you can dodge her Q or R with the Deathmark activation, and they just kind of go ham.
I do like it as well because it gives them a little bit of an upper hand if they get to the split pushing game. Zed split push is very, very strong. Going up against this game, I think that's a strategy they might want to go for because they don't have a lot of hard engage. Their front line here, Siobhan and Trundle, that's more of a disengage, like trying to use the pillar, kite away, or having Siobhan just hard farm, influence the jungle.
And of course, I want to kind of look at the rest of these lineups here for SKP. They've got a really big front line there. Shyvana Trundle, right? A Zed can jump in there to do something, kind of Thresh can help pull him out if he doesn't get away in his own. And then you've got a Jinx there on the back line, ready to just shoot at people. And we saw from Gambit that the Jinx was really safe in their game against SK. LCS.
You can make the Jinx really safe even without peeling for her if you can get the other team running from your front line. So that's what they're doing with the Trundle Shyvana. They're trying to get the other team on the run. When you're going super aggressive and diving all in, then you don't have to backpedal there and look out for your Jinx.
All right, well, we'll see if Vanillin can have a good time here or if Nuke Duck can nuke him out and kill this poor little Jinx. My favorite thing about Jinx, by the way, is that when she dies, her hair makes a heart. It's just so sweet. I like all the little smileys and whatnot she has. Her ult explosion also makes a smiley face. I like those little touches. But we are going to be here. It is top lane Trundle. It is jungle Shyvana here for SK Prime. And we're looking at normal lanes so far as we start in this game.
So the lanes look like they're matching up pretty normal here. The LeBlanc is actually going regen heavy, though, not opting for the Doran Ring and going not only Flask, but also health and mana potions.
Yeah.
If you do that, you have to start drinking your potions early as soon as you take the damage because your health reserve is not that large. And if you wait too long to start chugging those, then it opens up the opportunity for Zed to burst you down. He does have the execute damage with his passive, and you can get into some really dangerous situations. So should be pretty quick on sipping through that Flask.
Okay, so hopefully it's going to be all right for Nuke Duck. Of course, we got to say NIP should come in here as the favorites. Number 1 seed. They just came out of the LCS. Have a whole bunch of star power here, but I don't know. We've seen teams just show up with new players and just surprise the world. My favorite is still just the kind of cool things that Roccat pulls out. Right, NIP's nemesis so far here. SKP also one that have brought some really interesting strats out before. I want to see what they play with this time.
Well, looking at the duo bottom lanes here, which are going to match up against each other, they've both started Doran's Shield on the supports. There won't be the early executes to help shove the lane, and so both of them are opting not to help the jungler with their first buff, just so they can be in lane and try and manually shove it as early as possible. It looks like they're going to match up pretty even here, and nobody's going to get that rush level 2 all-in sort of cheesiness.
Wow, level 1 Flay already landing on a Mythy who did start Doran's Shield, by the way. So he's actually...
literally just said that.
I just wanted to make sure that people heard. I just wanted to make sure everyone said. Yeah, so again, no push, whatever. People show up to the lane, and it looks like already it's Freeze and Mythy who are forced back. NIP already on the back foot.
I also like the early Nuke Duck aggression. He hits level 2 first, and forces Zed back here a little bit.
Unfortunately, he's level 2 as well. Xyla, though, not really trying to do much with this one, but Nuke Duck clearly has a lot of knowledge of his matchup. He's already forcing back, already forcing a little bit of miss CS. And I got to say, it's pretty fun for Nuke Duck, who blind picked the matchup and is at a very early lead.
Meanwhile, the other solo lane up top should go to 0-0 in the beginning stages as well. You can see there, he goes for the trade when he's got his Fury Bar stacked up so that he can use his Empowered ability. Until then, he's just looking to keep it from decaying and trying to build it up with abilities there again. So now that he does have it again, he's going to force back Trundle and try and increase that CS.
And as they level up, of course, that trade gets more and more deadly. NIP actually back on the advantage here. Look at SKP playing very far away. 0 wards at all for these guys. All the trinkets have timed out, and they have no idea if Lee Sin's coming in.
So we are going to get a look at that Lantern gank. Shyvana, you know, everybody knows she has no hard CC of her own, but they don't even have to use the Lantern.
Wow, and Mithy flashes in time to not land onto the Flame Chompers there, so just some damage, but a Burn Summoner spell. A little bit of missed time for SKP's jungler.
Yeah, I mean, level 2, he's learned Hook and Flay, pretty standard right there, so he didn't have to even use the Lantern, though. Shyvana got in from the bush and was able to get off at least an auto.
Look at that trade in the top lane, though. Mozilla is actually pushing down 0-0, and Ginsu actually does show up, actually only for a ward. Didn't show up for a re-gank, but he's kind of really there for the team pretty heavily. Whereas Amin here just in time to show up for the top lane. The battle's going on 2v2. Jumps in. Mozilla's going to flash away, but the flash returns, and that's first blood picked up by Amin.
Oh, there could have been a split second where he could have run earlier. Nuktuk just does get the chain, but he saw Lee Sin with the tip of that ward. He was already engaged with 0-0, though. 0-0 did a very good job as a laner, setting up the fight with Mozilla and causing him to engage and commit to the fight.
Yeah.
He used his pillar on 0-0, so then he didn't have his pillar to disengage, burned his flash, and went down. That's a huge win there for Nip.
And what a good call by 0-0 as well, saying it's starting to push in. He's going to start going for me. And, of course, they had seen Shyvana bottom as well. All kinds of wonderful things for these guys. Nuktuk getting through his potions pretty quickly. Only one flask charge left. Looks like SKP just shoving the lane so they can buy.
You also have to note that the first buy there for 0-0 backing, it was a pickaxe straight up. So he's going for the Tiamat style Renekton. Very, very aggressive. Going to try and just shove in the lane over and over. Now that he's gotten an upper hand, he shoves the lane in hard and then looks for the roam like we talked about in the beginning.
It needs a map. Just go down to Italy. You'll find the roam, buddies. NIP still stuck in their bottom lane. Unfortunately, for SKP, they didn't get anything off of that flash going down. So equal CS, right? No return gank just yet. If that gank turns into nothing but flash coming back from cooldown, there's not much gain for Ginsu's time down there.
Yeah, it'll have to be a repeat visit there. You always want to repeat your ganks on the lanes without flash because the cooldown is so long now. It's been nerfed several times in a row, Freak. You remember back in the days?
Oh man.
When you
could
dodge projectiles, pop projectiles. Ah, yes.
You just couldn't die to, like, most champions. It's like, oh, are you trying to Scion stun me to tower dive? Nope.
It stuck around, though. Flash still. Paramount Summoner. Pretty much everyone taking that. It's very standard here.
Used to have 1,000 range, and now it's back to that 5-minute cooldown, but, like, 400 range. Exile, ooh, early pink ward left side of the river. I want to see how long that one lasts. 620, he put that ward down. When that pink ward dies, I'm going to hopefully remember this one.
That's a good point. Both of these mid laners are roaming assassins, but because Nuktuk has the early level 6 and the early advantage here, then he's going to be the one that's looking to make the roam first. Really good pink ward that should last a long time, and it's actually even seen Lee Sin here with the invade.
And no gank's going to happen here. Exile is going to be okay right there. Top lane the Mozilla, only 5, but nearly 6. There it is. That might be too much to dive right here. And in fact, Amin goes like, never mind.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as he gets level 6, the Trundle ultimate heals for a whole bunch, especially if Trundle's able to put down that W first, boosting the healing. Now he turns his sights towards mid, though.
Ooh, lands the Q. Exile is going to actually get... Oh. Got a little bit too far away at the shadow right there. Throw some shurikens. Nice try.
Nuktuk, though, he's going to try and take advantage of the Shadow being down. Shadow, very long cooldown early on. And so he follows up that gank mid with some more aggression. Even though it didn't work out, got no kill, more harass down, more lane pressure.
And speaking of lane pressure, Nuktuk's going to leave his for a second to pick up this blue buff here. But this CDR mana regen should help him in the matchup further. Nuktuk so far has been holding on pretty steady against Exila here. Again, got counter-picked by the Zed. Exile shows his matchup knowing his opponent. And so far, Nuktuk's been happy, so I want to see if the Zed can do more later in this game. So far, nothing special.
Yeah, they're pretty much even here. The Flasks, though, is gonna continue to supply him with plenty of regen in lane, something LeBlanc usually lacks. And he's on every back buying all 3 consumables, even though he already has a Flask. He's still getting both types of potions as well as wards for himself, because like we said early, both these mid laners really want to keep track of each other. They don't want to let them pick up kills inside lanes.
Well, speaking of kills in side lanes, there's already a sneak in for SKP. They pink warded their own backside lane brush, so they know Ginsu is unseen in here. Lantern, of course, has to have been learned by level 5.
Has to have been.
But the flash is back up for Mythy in time. Amin's coming down here as well. It's going to be 3v3. The dive goes in onto 6. Mythy getting the shield on as well. A lot of damage going across, and here comes Amin as well. Flash away, and this is going to be a missed. Leona open the kick back into zone. On top of a Lantern, though, Flash is back out. Is the chase there? Kill onto Lee Sin, actually, and SK Prime picks up the win in this fight, and they're not even done chasing. Mythy dropped to 200. Free's going to force his back, though.
So because Lee Sin coming down the river, early engage there from Mythy, they come out with the win there for SKP. Also might note that the improved Lantern now does have a little bit of unit collusion, so it's easier to click. You could see that instant click there from Jinx, even though he didn't move that far, was able to get just enough distance out to the backside of the fight.
Wow, Nuke Duck just took a really scary trade against Exila. Both these guys actually backing, but ulti burned from the Zed to force him away.
I also really like the timing of that fight down bottom. Both teams had the same idea. Hey, we're hitting duo level 6s here. We want to take advantage of these ultimates. But, you know, the bad news there for Nip was that the gank was already in place because of that pink ward you mentioned earlier for Shyvana.
And Mythy taking a bit of
repeat visit.
Okay, Amin, can you do this? Everyone burn their summoners on this.
Now, something is pretty interesting right there. He backs off, Lee Sin backs off because the duo lane retreats when he was approaching. All right, let's take a look at the middle instead here. Nuke Duck does get his clone popped and walk away, but the shadow is still there for the all-in from Zed, and Death in the Mark Ignite will end up taking him down.
Oh, wow, he juked the Q right there.
Whoa.
That was beautiful.
So it didn't take him down?
No, he
Just
actually
kidding.
He
was able to juke the last Q. Okay, that was the reason. Stayed alive.
Staying alive. Nuke Duck keeping himself there. Not a sitting duck in this matchup. Certainly very mobile. 0-0 already pressuring that top lane and took the turret down. And look at that, a 20 minion lead up there. Of course, SK3 had picked up kills before. Amin not having a great time in this game. Fight coming in from Freeze. Not going to find too much, though. But 6, by the way, just making all the kills happen, removing the NIP jungler.
That's now going to be 2 ultimates, 2-0 in the bottom lane in favor of SKP. Since they were able to burn down both Leona and Lucian's right there. That enables them to just shove in on this turret. They're going to get some extra damage.
All right, well, the push, of course, still coming in. Amin still shoved to this bottom lane. He is not leaving his teammate's side down here. Freeze just killing off some minions. Nothing too special from this one. The laners themselves are fine. It's just the fact that the junglers have had a really big impact. And 0-0 is still just really getting ahead of Mozilla. They're going to fight again. And I just feel like it's going to get worse and worse for this poor Trundle, who, if you only remove 20 attack damage, your opponents are adding more to that, it just kind of means less and less.
He does look like he's not afraid of full engaging here, though. He's trapped 0-0 with the pillar.
Actually, yeah, both these guys trading ultis, and Mozilla actually in the lead right now. 0-0, uh-oh. He pops the Ignite and dashes back in. One more attack will seal the deal. Mozilla goes down. Looks like 0-0 still well in control of this lane.
He's got his Tiamat plus the giant chainmail right there, doing a lot for him in that brawl, and keeping his calm about him, able to re-engage, plus use the Ignite there at the end.
Really, really good play. Good baiting, the late Ignite, all that wonderful stuff. Nuke Duck still in a happy place in this mid lane. Only 3 CS up, and all right, there we go. 6 minutes is where it lasted before Amin saw it, but definitely worth more than the green one would have been at that point. The thing I wanted to point out, though, about this mid lane matchup is that Nuke Duck, right, normally in LeBlanc you rush a Deathfire Grasp, maybe a Death Cap, but usually DFG. And he's been forced to actually go for an early Seeker's Arm Guard, significantly lowering his early damage output before he goes into Bursty. Yeah,
he did survive that all-in from Zed before, though, and so it is definitely paying off. He's looking to not die in this matchup, and he's staying even on CS. Plus, neither of them has really gotten off a good roam yet, so definitely pretty much is still a toss-up here in the mid lane.
And, of course, the bottom lane also pretty equal. Both these guys sitting on actually almost identical items down the board. The only difference being that 6 has boots because he killed some enemy champions so far. SKP sweeps out another pink ward down at the tri-brush there. Theirs in the back of their brush still alive. So NIP has never gotten the chance to push this lane out at all.
Yeah, down bottom, they are just holding their own here. Both supports, you can note, also are going for the coin, so they're going to be looking to get the speed boost for their team later. And 0-0, true to form, as we said, He takes the lead up top, roams down, and they're going to go for the early objective here, Dragon 13 minutes.
There's no teleport from Mozilla. SKP's bottom lane is pushed back, but looks like there's still a little bit around here. LeBlanc's going to move first, though. NIP completely in control here. Good roam. Amin secures the Dragon.
Not only did 0-0 shove the lane in far enough to get down to Dragon, but he's going to be able to get back up to that top turret before there's really any answer from Trundle. It was just a huge, huge win there by 0-0.
He'll miss maybe like 2 minions, like 1 melee in the cannon before he gets into this one. Good play by 0-0, and NIP actually back into the lead here, 1,600 gold, 14 minutes in. We'd seen some sketchy things in the bottom lane. Six and Ginsu really made a lot of things happen and made Amin's life miserable. But at the same time, we're seeing things really come back here for NIP. Ginsu's still trying to make moves. And I'm kind of wondering, like, what SKP has now in store for them. Their AD carries are pretty equal. Exila's not doing all that much just yet. Maybe a small lead in mid lane now, but nothing's happened for them in a while. NIP's one making moves.
And Shyvana's not really the type of jungler that's going to be able to make that huge game-changing play when there's no dragon up. You know, her ganks are a little bit lackluster. So I'm going to keep my eyes on the Zed. I think that a good roam from Zed might be able to turn the tides in their favor here. If he can get down to bottom lane, maybe kill some of the squishies. He could even go for 0-0 because, as we said before, the early Tiamat, you know, it provides him a lot of pushing power, but it's not defensive stats, and he hasn't completed the Sunfire quite yet.
He hasn't still, but looks like he's got maybe a Shyvana coming around. No, 0-0 just chilling with good ward coverage, actually. One in the Wraith Brush, one near the red buff, so we can see if someone ever comes in here. And Zero's just kind of tooling that lane around. He's up almost 30, more than 30 minions now. Just very, very far ahead. Sunfire Cape, geez, just so much here. But SKP are winning this bottom lane, I guess, because this turret is starting to take damage. This is where the only lead I'm really seeing is coming from.
You're right. You know, 0-0, talking about that early Sunfire Cape, this is the new patch where the damage on it has been reduced at earlier levels. So it is only going to do maybe 36 per second instead of the usual 40 there.
Yeah.
And it'll even out at level 15, though, so he's only got a couple more levels to go before it reaches the same old damage. But meanwhile, like you talked about, the Jinx also holding her own in that bottom. And she's a late game sort of hyper carry here.
Yeah.
If they aren't able to shut down the Jinx, then they still have that in their back pockets.
Well, Nuke Duck, it might just be on you then if it gets to this, because you're the only guy likely to even reach him. Still, this top lane, very good for NIP. This bottom lane really holding standard. And we haven't seen moves now from the junglers in some time. Shyvana not been trying to gank, just been circle farming. 79 minions, a pretty good score. But a very similar thing here for Amin on Lee Sin, who also still hasn't finished Ancient Golem. He's like sidetracked for a bunch of other items so far.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a Sightstone upgrade next there. Pretty important with Lee Sin's kit. Nuke Duck has not tried to roam a lot either because he's been pressured by that Zed. So both of the champions here on SKP that on NIP that we expect the game-changing plays to come from haven't been very mobile.
Unfortunately not. So here it's just really Nuke Duck holding still, not getting much done, unfortunately. A bit of a slower game, I suppose, here. A sitting duck, I guess you could call him here, because he's really not doing much. Minions chilling around. Oh, actually, the play comes in from 0-0. He is still the playmaker, but Exila is going to make his way out. Oh, my gosh. Jumps back in for more damage and does survive with about 20 HP. 0-0 burning his ulti and flash and ignite. And not, unfortunately, for NIP getting much out of this, except maybe a bit of control over mid.
Yeah, it is just going to be a four-man game here with both the Zed as well as the Renekton being forced back, and no real objective can be taken because it was a pretty even trade there.
Yeah.
All summoners and the ultimates being burned on both members. We're really playing the waiting game here for the next dragon to pop back up. So, you know, another almost 2 minutes before an objective that they're really going to have to commit to. Until then, 0-0 probably will return to keeping his ward coverage up in this top lane and trying to draw resources up to him. He's been making plays in the mid lane, but if he can just draw more attention of SKP up to that top lane, then maybe they can open up the rest of the map for Nuke Duck to take advantage of his burst power that he does have with LeBlanc, because even though he's going for that Zanya's, there's a lot of ability power there on that Neasly Large Rod.
And right now, though, it looks like the map is still closed because SKP still has Ginsu around here. Can Six land the dash? He's going to try to get some more damage in there. There we go. Freeze getting pulled in, and he's going to go down right away. Well played, SKP. They saw the entire rest of the team and just forced it.
Very good combo right there. And the Thresh right here definitely deserves a lot of the credit getting off these ganks for Shyvana. Even though there's a ward in the side bush, we're able to land that hook and secure the kill.
All right, well, these guys are going to keep moving forward. That's the first turret for this team here. Of course, 0-0 had pushed the top one a while ago, but they're going to continue to snowball this lane. No one even moved down to defend this. Everyone else been stuck in the mid lane, so SKP getting 2 turrets for that champion kill as well. So that's going to equalize the gold completely right here. We're going to watch that fight again.
All right, so starting off with the Flay, it was a good move by Lucian to use his dash after that, removing the slow, but he barely is not able to reach the minion line. You can see he was running towards that first melee minion to hope that it would block the hook, but not able to get around it, and even though he pops his barrier, there's more than enough damage there since Shyvana is able to use her Dragon's Descent.
And here we go, SK Prime regrouping just in time for the Dragon. It's respawning right now. It looks like they're going to be able to start this one out pretty easily. Both top laners roaming down. Nip wants to challenge this right here. We'll see if they can do this. Of course, Mithy.
Trundle's pretty far off here.
Well, Alma's going to go in for it, though. Does he have the damage? No, it's going to be smited away by Shyvana, kicked into the wall, and she's going to jump over as a dragon. And it's going to be a dragon pickup for no real cost here. SKP, good job.
Wow, he gets a free ticket out of there. Doesn't even have to burn his flash.
Yeah. Very nicely done. 0-0 unfortunately left the top lane. Didn't get anything for it, but he is still completely dominating his lane matchup. Now 45 minions in the lead. In addition to that kill and assist, I mean, if I see one gun NIP doing well, it has to be 0-0 here to carry.
He is continuing to do his job in the top lane. But also down bottom, you know, Freeze is not doing too shabby. He doesn't even have boots yet because he's trying to rush that Trinity Force after his Bloodthirster. It actually will help him take down this turret really quickly because of the Sheen damage and fully stacked Bloodthirster.
Oh, good stuff there. It's going to be at least one more turret equalized, making it 2-2, but the turrets that SKP have killed are worth a little bit more. Those tier 2 turrets worth about 750, I believe, if I have my numbers right. Whereas the outer turrets are 650 overall. So, small lead here. Again, Nuke Duck just treading water. We have not seen these guys been able to do almost anything out of the mid lane except kill minions over and over and over again. Blue buff onto Exila, and NIP going to fully roam up to this mid lane right here. And they're going to be not unanswered, but they're certainly outnumbering the opposition. 0-0 coming by as well.
It seems like SKP are just sort of playing completely reactively here. Their bottom turret goes down, so the next objective for NIP is definitely going to be the mid. That's the only outer turret left standing. But again, they send their duo lane back bottom to farm that extra wave, and it did cost them a lot of damage on that mid turret.
And look at this rinse and repeat from 0-0. He kills up the top lane wave and runs all the way back down to join his team because there's no threat of him losing minions or a turret, anything. But he doesn't actually go for any playmaking down here. Instead, he just looks for a rotate, doesn't find one, and they send Nuke Duck to just farm the bottom lane.
Oh, he goes back for the golem, though, and he does get the big one.
Nice job, 0-0, taking those two. A little bit of denying, nice stuff, but it's you're seeing NIP kind of shift the resources around. So Freeze is going to hold the mid lane with Mithy and Amin, and it's Nuke Duck who's just farming away in this bottom lane right here, getting a bunch of gold and being an individual threat. And maybe the jump in onto Amin. A lot of bursts coming across, and goodbye, 6. Steals another kill, 3-0-1. That Thresh is going to be big this
He
game.
is deserving of those kills, too. He's doing everything that he can right now to get his team ahead. And that hook right there is going to guarantee the objective.
There we go, 3-0-1. Every single kill has come in part to Amin. Sorry, to Ginsu and 6 right here. You're seeing Mozilla again getting jumped on 0-0. Still, I gotta say, the leader of this matchup. He's only getting stronger with the Ninja Tabby done as well. Zoro making sure that nothing threatens his top lane turret.
Now, when we do get to the team fight, the large 5 vs 5 here, it looks like SKP are going to continue to rely on those hooks from 6, and they're going to have the Trundle ultimate as well. So even if he hooks in 0-0 or one of these frontline members, he can actually shred the tanks very well with this lineup. So Trundle and Shyvana don't necessarily have to dive to the backlines. Wow, good hook.
Mithy getting pulled in, flayed back as well, but with the shield on, he's going to be all right. There we go, the dive back in from Shyvana. Nuke Duck forced to run away, very low in health. Lee Sin-Kick's going to keep his team alive. A lot of spells burn, no one yet going down.
Yeah, this time around, kicking Shyvana out. Good idea. They want to reset this and buy time for Zoro to roam.
Oh! Mithy, that was unfortunate.
Well, that was just a dang good shot there.
Yeah, it was.
By Jinx, deserving of the kill. Zoro knows that he has no backup, so he has to retreat.
Yeah, not completely, but sort of semi-circle surrounded here by SKP, forced to run to the left. Looks like red buff will go to Vanillin here. NIP have unfortunately not found much to do. They've tried to make this mid lane roam happen, but they're not getting much for it. Unfortunately getting picked off once in a while by Six's Thresh. So 5-2-1 kills, SKP even up a turret as well. I mean, this is a good thing for the new upstarts here.
Yeah, I mean, really the plays over and over from the Thresh are what's keeping them up there and actually in the lead for this game. The only problem that they do have to worry about is Zoro coming down once again repeatedly.
Yeah.
The same old pattern. I think they've gotten used to it, and they've actually warded up 3 wards in their red side jungle. So it's a good little adjustment there, but he's still a threat, and you have to respect that roam.
Well, speaking of respect, Exiled is going in hard, but still getting cut up there. He's going to go down, trying to force down Nuke Duck, and doesn't get much for it. Shyvana shows up. That's going to be Ginsu trying to get there. Mozilla going to put the trophy down to chase on. Zoro forced to flash away. No health left on him, but already kills getting traded back and forth. Top lane is going to go down. Mozilla still on the chase there, chained up, though, by Nuke Duck. The ulti coming in, flashed away. Nuke Duck might just live. 2 more shots to go. Can he get in range? The Zap's going to pick it up. Vanillin still on the chase. No hook's going to land. Mithy forced to run away still. And that is a fight that SKP goes 2 for 2 in.
That's only going to be a 2 for 2 trade, but SKP are the ones with control of the map now, so they can go clear out these minion waves, and they'll get some extra gold, whereas NIP have to all retreat. So, classic right here. We started off again with another beautiful hook, but they didn't respect the Zoro roam. We saw him come down with those 3 wards in the red side, and he's a giant crocodile. Too hard to click the lantern, so Zed trying to use his shadow to get away barely doesn't get out. Shyvana is able to keep him in here, though. Right almost into turret range, and the box slow. He ults him right into that box slow, then the Thresh Flay as soon as he gets out of range of this. Here comes Trundle. He's actually going to get in range here. I think he pops his ulti was already popped, and it slowly drained down Zoro for the kill. This chase is the really exciting part, though, because Jinx has red buff. And even though he's using the ulti and then flash for the auto attack, the extra flash for the auto attack is able to keep this red slow on Nuke Duck. And he shoots one more rocket at the clone, then immediately zaps. So killing the clone so that his zap will get the full range and secure the kill on the Nuke Duck right there is the only reason they are able to answer with the second kill.
Very nicely played here as Vanillin 3-0-3, having a pretty good game for himself. Slower landing phase, but now that team fights have started, he's had a pretty good time of this one. NIP still trying to be the team that is aggressive. Dragon is up. A little bit of ward control here for both sides. NIP having just a couple more on the left-hand side, but SKP sees the Dragon itself.
Another thing to note is that Zoro, with all of the lead that he's been able to accrue, has built only armor here. It's just full armor tank. So the slow burns there of the magic damage from the front line here of SKP will really have a huge effect on him. It's just going to be the Jinx and Zed that he's mostly built against.
Well, here these guys go. There's going to be a turret taking damage. It's going to go down. NIP popping the Ascension to get out. 6 did the same thing, but no catch going to be here. So NIP trading second tier turret for that Dragon, keeping the gold only about 2,000 apart. SK Prime going to look back for the mid lane. They're going to force a fight there. NIP has to commit from the left if they want to at all, but Ginsu is there to hold on to the advance. And you're seeing NIP a little bit gun-shy here.
I really liked that move from NIP because they did not want to fight another straight up 5 versus 5. Zoro actually getting a little bit too close here. He gets slowed from the Blade of the Ruined King.
And zapped as well. The chase still on. Everyone is there. This is a 5v1, but Zoro just wants to get away with the Randuin's Omen. He does that successfully, actually. The rest of NIP here to save him.
The map movement before that, though, where they were able to rotate to take a secondary turret for the Dragon, was a good choice since they don't want to full-on fight this team. Now ultimates were down from both Renekton and Shyvana. Still a pretty decent matchup here.
Fight's still going to continue there. Onto the turret, pull onto Amin. That leads in, not in a good spot right there. The fight is in. Exile goes in the back line. Amin goes down to the rocket. It's going to be the chase still. The trade back, though, onto Zed. 4v4 here. SKP still want the fight. Mythic gets caught. He's going to land a Solar Flare on the 2. And now here comes Freeze to avenge his lane mate. 6 will go down. That's another one picked up there, but it's a 3-for-2 overall. SKP winning that fight again.
This is going to be 3 members for 2, but you can see SKP retreating because the 2 surviving members on NiP are the damage dealers, and you have to respect a double buff Lucian with the combo of Trinity Force plus Bloodthirster. He's going to chase you down and kill you!
Goodbye, Ginsu.
And secured right there. They even it up for 3 each.
So good catch, and now because that respawn's so late, it's going to make things pretty difficult for SKP.
Now let's take a look at this once again, because it's the hook into the box and Flame Chompers, but since Lee Sin's so slippery, he safeguards out. This is an overextension by Exila. He goes after Nuke Duck with everything he has, but he's under turret and gets obliterated. Even though they are 1 man down here, though, 6 is still chasing Mithy, and he's able to lantern in Vanilla. And wow, that was just such a long-range, beautiful lantern right there for the kill. Does end up costing him, but on the off-screen kill, we didn't get to see before. Zoro Zero was taken down once again by Trundle. We can see in the late game that Trundle ultimate doing everything that it needs to melt through the extra armor and burn him down.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that even though Zoro Zero built up a 60 minion kill lead and has more items than Mozilla, you're seeing that Trundle play really well in team fights and completely kind of get out of the landing phase successfully. The other thing to point out is Freeze got the 500 shutdown gold by killing 6. The Thresh who got all those kills for his team. That's a whole bunch of gold money that just got picked up here, which is going to help NIP's AD carry a little bit here.
The thing is, Nuke Duck did not actually go for the Zhonya's completion. He used his Needlessly Large Rod for a Deathfire Grass instead. And since now he's got the Void Staff and Deathfire Grass combo, you have to be worried for your Jinx. Your Jinx is going to be able to get 100% bursted, 100% if she's caught out anywhere on the map. So now you really need to concentrate on that ward control to keep track of that roaming LeBlanc.
It's a really good late game sort of save me plan. It's like, by the way, Nuke Duck can one-shot any of you, so be more mindful. And even though Exile has been focusing Nuke Duck, we've seen time and again that he's been outplaying the fights. Nuke Duck hasn't really been going down, despite repeatedly being targeted by Exile.
I also want to point out how Trundle sort of changes the current meta of team fights. Right now, it's very much focused on the front line diving your opponent's back line, and it's a contest between, which one has the tanks that will last longer. But when you have Trundle, you'll add him into the mix. He basically will melt one of your tanks with his ultimate, and all you have to do is focus everything on that single target. You can burn him down very quickly, and he uses the pillar to zone out the damage of the opponents for as long as he can. Just even a couple seconds of Freeze or Nuke Duck getting pillared back and having to wade their way through the muck means a whole bunch of extra damage that your team is not taking, and you can use that to burn down either Zoro Zero or Mithy.
We've seen that.
Meanwhile, Exile, he's in a dangerous spot.
Oh, good juke. Dodges the chains, but is still on the backside. NIP taking their time with this one. Nuke Duck doesn't want to get jumped on.
He's got nowhere to go here.
Yeah, but he's waiting for his jump to not get killed by Exile into the brush. And the team actually is coming for both sides here. Stun onto the Zed. Still running, but looks like NIP are here first. He's going to jump in. Nuke Duck's going to try to run away from this one. Exile is still getting chased. He's going to flash away, and SKP are here now. 0-0 forced back. The cavalry has arrived. Amin still running. Mithy, actually, only Freeze is still missing from this fight, so it's 5v4. Vanillan does not go down. Nuke Duck does not have any places to go. Zoro Zero's going to show up. It's going to be a trade kill. Mid laner for AD carry, and Freeze has joined the fight finally, but NIP forced to run away. Mozilla is just man-moding the entire lineup right now. Mithy's stuck. Blade backwards, goes down 2 for 1. Can Mozilla get another trophy down? Can he get the chase onto Freeze? Slow as there, he's going to dash over it though. Just the 2 for 1.
And Exila survived the whole thing. Him being caught out there and saving all of his cooldowns was what you were talking about. Nuke Duck was playing very cautiously, did not want to get 100% bursts. They were treating that Zed as a very dangerous animal, and only Zoro Zero was willing to touch him. Two members being down to only 1 though means SKP immediately turn their attention towards Baron and get it uncontested.
A beautiful pickup right here, and that's going to be a big lead. SK Prime up 4,600 gold right here. You can watch this fight again. Nuke Duck does not kill Vanillan.
Now, this was the second phase of the fight where most of NIP had been able to retreat under the turret, but Nukeduck wanted to pull off a bush gank here and burst down the AD carry. Even though they finally finished off the AD carry, the rest of the team had to pay for Nukeduck's commitment here, and with them all getting this low, that's really what caused SKP to get the Baron right after.
You see there, it's Mithy going down, and we actually, you mentioned Zoro0 having his full armor build. We saw him get away with like no health left right there, and you can see Thornmail, Sunfire Cape, Randuin Zoman, Ninja Tabby. The guy is trying not to take physical damage here. The only difficulty being that Mozilla's ulti, percent health damage, magic damage.
As well as the double Sunfires from Shyvana and Trundle. And they're basically, like I said, killing tanks. So they're going to be the ones that are on Zoro0 for the team fight phase. But 2-versus-1 situation here. Maybe he'll have the advantage. Whoop, never mind. Zoro0 Nukeduck disappears.
Mozilla steals all his stats, and that's going to make things pretty bad for that actually fairly small Crocodile overall. Looks like 6, they're going to jump in onto Amin. Amin's trying to get away from this one, flashes, but brings Exile in with him. He's going to go down. Goodbye to Lee Sin. SK Prime completely in control now.
NIP continue to the same strategy that they had before, invading on the red side and trying to pressure up the mid and top lanes, but their ward coverage is insufficient for this. There's 2 pinks here from SKP that are doing a lot of work, and again, another amazing hook from 6 is able to land them a kill.
He's landed more than a few of those right there, 4, 1, and 8 on him, and they're going to be pushing on now onto this inhibitor turret, I should say, in the brief 5v4. Looks like turret's a little bit too much for him just now, but they have another minion wave coming in soon.
With the Baron buff regen too, they are feeling just fine about this. Lee Sin about to pop up, so he may be able to reach this fight in time. He's got home guards. This will be a 5-on-5. The only problem is it's going to be a Baroned up SKP, and they also have the advantage of the poke from Jinx. Like, she can just continually rocket in and spam zaps. There's not that much regen here for NIP. He's able to land those zaps onto someone like Nukeduck.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're going to have to be pretty careful about this one. Death Cap not yet done for Nukeduck. I feel like that might be enough items that he can one-shot the Jinx, but we saw his combo before, and it couldn't get past the barrier of Vanillin. He needed a lot more backup there. So still continue to track Nukeduck, as Vanillin has, among the most gold in his team, certainly a very big factor in these fights. 3.5 item AD carry. But going towards what looks like a Banshee's Veil now is going to make that very difficult for Nukeduck.
It's definitely the best buy against the LeBlanc. Being able to block just one of her spells and interrupt the disrupt the combo that she's trying to pull off is exactly what you need to save her life, and he won't have to rely on that barrier.
Zoro0 walking into a trap. Going to dash over the wall. He will be maybe okay. Nope, not going to be okay at all. Rocket's not going to land, but the chase is still on. Can Ginsu land much else? Zap lands on a Nukeduck, but he can dash the wall. But just a 1-for-0, and the tankiest member of NIP, goes down in a heartbeat.
Yeah, all the shred right there. They didn't even have to use the Trundle ultimate to be able to get through that. Double Blade of the Ruined Kings coming down, and now Baroned up team versus 4. Easy march towards that inhibitor.
Okay, so turret number 2 on this lane going down. SK Prime 6-4 in turret kills. Ninjas in Pyjamas on the back foot right now. Inside their base, 20 seconds still on Zoro0. SK Prime not showing signs of slowing down. Not a whole ton of damage from the cooling right there. There's going to be another turret. Inhibitor turret number 1 has fallen top lane. Inhibitor going to be falling right now, and will SK Prime backdoor? Will they just retreat back to the jungle? Looks like it's going to be the latter.
This is very, very difficult for NIP. I mean, this game has just been pick after pick after pick. We have not had solid engages really from either team. It's always someone getting caught out of position, and neither team really looking to remedy that situation. The ward coverage very sparse here from NIP. It's really SKP that's been pretty much setting up all of these opportunities and then easily capitalizing on them. I mean, 6 has just been on point.
Oh yeah, there have been so many picks you'd think it was a Lulu Mirror one for all. SKP finding kills every once in a while and turning that, and a third Blade of the Ruined King. I mean, they really want to do this percentile physical damage there. SK Prime, I mean, just ready to go in this one. They're all adding MR. You're seeing 4 Spectre Cowls, 3 Blade of the Ruined Kings. These guys know, okay, don't get one shot by LeBlanc, and go crush tanks with your auto attacks. Like, I feel like SK Prime has all the tools they need just in items to just walk forward in a team fight and win it.
I love playing against a LeBlanc when your entire team's got Banshee's Veils. It's so hard for her to pop those bubbles. There's just too many going on. She has no target to choose from. It's going to be very hard for NIP to battle back from this. They're going to have to really rely on Freeze's Lucian to put out constant damage and will them down, because Zoro has also been having a tough time staying alive. Like you said, with all the Blade of the Ruined Kings plus the Trundle ultimate, there's just so much that can take him down easily.
And he's going to go for, looks like a Warmog's armor for his next item here, Zoro. I guess his last major item here. Another Giant's Belt, even more health than that guy. Jinx ready to go for the damage output, though. Dragon in 40, Baron in 115, but SKP still happy to siege without the Baron buff on them. They are the more powerful team. 8,000 gold lead here. Shield comes across, turret still taking damage. Those do regen, but slowly. SKP.
Yeah, and you can see the strategy here for SKP is very easy to execute. They've got the tanks on the front line that can bully this NIP roster back from the turret, allowing Jinx to use her rockets. 3 rockets was all it took to take down 20% of that turret's HP. So every wave, they're going to get another couple rockets in.
And a pull into Mythi. More rockets coming across. The minions certainly die very fast. SKP not trying to push it too hard. They know there's... Oh my god, goodbye to Ginsu. And this might be the push they want. Is going to knock in Exila. Exila likely to go down here. Yes, he does take the damage. Double kill for Nuke Duck. One traded back, though. Jinx got excited. Is that going to be enough now for SK Prime? 3v4, and they are chasing in. Turret goes down. Zoro shows up, though. Is that going to be enough to turn this fight around? Again, 4 versus 3 for NIP. Chompers go down, keeping him safe. Mozilla forced back. Nuke Duck making a big way in. Zoro now. Not in the best spot right there, but Mozilla even worse. Another kill picked up. 3 for 1 in this battle. NIP turning things around.
SKP was able to get down the inhibitor turret, though. That's 2 inhibitor turrets down. They do have to run for their lives, and Baron is up at this moment. So NIP have to be very careful with what they do with the health bars that they have to them. They could make a rush at Baron and try and get the ward control over that area set up, because that's really important at this time. Now, let's look at the burst here from Nuke Duck, because he has changed his strategy. Since the Jinx is building a Banshee's Veil, I might as well just go to the front line here. It's much easier to get to, and I can get my full combo off. At that point, SKP have to commit. So they fight this anyway, and they try and get the burst down. Even though Zed's able to get off his ulti in the AoE, they weren't able to come out ahead here because it's still a 4 members versus 3.
Man, and goodbye. And just to speak of it, by the way, Ginsu was actually the one guy who didn't have a Banshees yet. He was actually chilling without the Spectre's Cowl. And
well, they're not. Yeah, nobody's completed it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was 4 Spectre's Cowls. He was the only guy without one.
Yeah, exactly.
So no MR itemization till now. Banshee's now done. Ginsu learned his lesson. Maybe a little bit too late, but we'll see. The inhibitors have respawned. Now 2 are bare. 2 have, like, the top and mid inhibitors have no turrets in front of them, but NAP have stopped having super minions flood into their base. Lulu's going to be here for Nuke Duck. He's still being pretty happy. You've got 3 major offensive items done for him, so he's finally starting to be useful in these fights. Exila not finding much to do for himself, though, on Zed. And the AD carries continue to get scarier and scarier in this game.
So we've got 2 targets off the table for Nuke Duck. Unless they're able to pop those Banshee's Veil early, then he won't be able to 100% burst, and we won't have the exact same story as we saw last game.
Ginsu actually sold his Blade of the Ruined King to buy that.
Well, he just had a very painful awakening to how this game is working.
I've never seen someone sell a tier 3 item to be like, you know what, I was wrong here. Let me build defense like I was supposed to in the first place. And IP feeling a little bit more confident. 4,000 gold. I feel like I've said that number a few times. Just 4,000 gold still separating these teams. And IP did get a dragon to capitalize off their previous team fight win. Nuke Duck stood an award.
He saw it and
doesn't
want
to kill it.
That's the other great thing about those pink wards, taking 5 hits. Even if they do walk by them, they're all visible. It takes way too long to clear that out. It's very dangerous at this point in the game.
And SKP still the aggressor.
Another hook.
Okay, not too much on a Mythi. He's safe. A little bit of time until that Eclipse comes back up, though.
All right, so again, waiting for this team fight to break out. Of course, we're all looking for what Nuke Duck's target will be, because that's where the surprise came from NIP last time around.
Okay, early damage from Lucian. Coming across. Ulti's going to land onto 2. The dive is going to come on in. Who's going to take the damage with their Ginsu? Going to take a bunch of bursts and go down. Exila chasing down Nuke Duck, who might fall afterwards. But the damage still coming across. Nuke Duck is going to live. 1 for 1 so far. Jinx got excited. Exila stuck on the wrong side of the map, but Vanillin is into this fight. Can he go down here? Mithy very aggressive. They're going to target him super hard. Freeze trying to make it happen, but it's going to be a kill from the Jinx on to Leona. Amin going to knock back everybody else and keep his AD carry alive. Nukeduck back into the fray. Mozilla will go down. Now Freeze in a fight with Vanillin does not want this battle, though. It's going to be a 3-4-2 overall with Freeze no health. But SKP is going to leave this fight with an inhibitor kill.
I think it's time for Nukeduck to upgrade those home guard boots. If he could get back out there quick enough, they could grab one more. But, man, you saw the difference right there. Zoro going down so quickly because they have so many answers for this tank, while Mozilla lasted till almost the very end.
And that is with only 2 completed tank items so far. He's still going in. Spectre's Cowl plus a new Negatron Cloak. Mozilla really wants Magic Resist. That's going to free up Freeze to do a bit more damage in these fights with no one building armor. The ward's getting swept out, and NIP going for their own Baron here.
There are home guards on Shyvana. No way, they're bursting it down way too quick here. Nip definitely going for the all-in. Very dangerous to even check it.
Well, Jinx does reveal it briefly with her zap. She's going to pop the ulti. Does not do enough damage. Blue team picks up Baron Nashor. Amin, unfortunately, not a guy who's hitting many smites, but the Baron buff still does go to NIP.
Hey, man, they got it anyway. All right, so let's take another look at that. A beautiful engage from Mithy here with the Leona ultimate. Now we're keeping our eyes on Nukeduck as he bursts down the closest target, but immediately runs when Exila jumps on him. And Zed not being able to land that Q and not being able to finish off Nukeduck means that Nukeduck was able to come back towards the end of the fight. He jukes back to the rest of his team, and Exila, once again, this has pretty much been the story for all the team fights. He finds himself on the wrong side of the team fight, and the rest of his team is in between 2 turrets here, which makes them peel for Jinx. But Jinx got so low that she actually doesn't want to fight anymore and just works on the inhibitor, while Mozilla now getting burst down by the Nukeduck that was not able to finish him off. Boom comes in to clip him, and the Ignite will finish him off.
Nice.
Or the Chain Explosion.
Yeah, Chain Explosion does it. Freeze forced back. One more crit, he would have died. Wouldn't have won that fight, so wise way to disengage. Kill score pretty close, 14-17. Gold lead, only 3.5K now. SK Prime looking for the top lane this time. Still the team that feels like the one with the advantage. Problem is, NIP is wearing a Baron buff here, and SKP still wants to fight.
SKP are wearing 4 Banshee's Veils now, and 1 that just needs to be completed with a recipe. They're so close to it. And they're just pressing the advantage even with Baron buff here. But those are their 2 main engage tools. Pillar and Hook have been used.
We'll see what they get out of this one. Mozilla taking a couple hundred damage.
Great using of the culling to pop Banshee's Veils.
They're going to move on into the get much. No! Oh, there's Leona ulti. 2 slows right there, but not enough. Mikhail's Crucible used to remove the slow from Exila.
And both teams having the upgraded Talisman of Ascensions there pretty much negate each other because they're running at the exact same speeds, both being used. Nobody does end up getting caught. And they're waiting for the Banshee's Veils cooldowns to come back up here because those will be back quicker than the culling.
Yeah, they're pretty short cooldowns, but they get reset by getting, I believe, damaged by enemy champions. So if they take damage again, they're going to lose the spell shields again. And you're seeing, actually, Ginsu cannot get his Banshees back up. Cooldown constantly reset. And he was the target a couple of times so far. Amin in the front line. Pull's not going to land. SKP still sieging this turret, though. This is going to be a dead inhibitor soon. But the fight's going to start. Amin trying to force them back. The inhib does fall down. Kicks back to Vanilla, but the team's not there for him. They're all in the background. And poor Lee Sin is getting chunked down. He's going to fall finally. And we're seeing SKP get a free kill of this one. 0-0 in the back lane. Still trying to chase. He's going to go down as well.
I love what Mozilla did this time. He reduced Freeze's attack damage by biting him and then zoned out Zoro. As soon as Zoro tried to pull off the combo, he flashes away. And the Ard Q from LeBlanc did not get popped because Mozilla flashed it out.
Wow, wonderful stuff here. The kill's going to come off onto Shyvana, but it's going to be a trade back onto Mithy right there. So far, 4 members alive versus only 2 of NIP. 2 inhibitors down again, and SKP still looking to push this one in. Exila a little bit low, but might be safe. Bottom lane is going to have some minions in the front, and they're going to go for this turret as well right here. You're seeing this drop so quickly. 9 turrets are dead. 3 inhibitors about to fall as well. SK Prime looking so good in this game, but forced to back off, I think, right here.
They've got all 3 inhibitors down, though. If they return to their base to heal up, then when they make their next way down to the NIP base, they can have 3 waves of super minions there to help them out, and that will be what they want to look for in the Nexus turrets.
Here we go. Home guards picked up just because SKP wants to not lose any time. Exala going to make his way out here. The whole team, a lot of magic resist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Banshees, Veils in these guys. Ready to deal with Nuke Ducks. Blind pick LeBlanc, 5, 2, and 6. A good performance, but SKP look ready for it. The AD carries. Vanillin has already sold boots for a Zephyr. Nothing else to buy for this Jinx. Very similar scenario for Freeze. Still has Berserker's Greaves, but a lot of damage still there as well.
Now, I think what NIP should look for in their defense of the Alamo that's about to come up should be very early culling from Freeze to get off as many of those Banshee's Veils as he can, like he pulled in the first fight there. If he can get at least 3 or 4 of those down, then it'll be a huge win for them, because Nuke Duck then can turn his sights towards just blowing up one of the tanks. That actually worked fairly well for them. As long as the Banshee's Veil is down on that front line, then he can take a huge chunk out. The problem has been when Nuke Duck has been trying to get to that back line and he gets chunked out.
Well, one Banshee's Veil is gone. Zoro 0 taking damage to the front line. There's the culling. Gets rid of another Banshee's off from the Jinx. Could be a target right here. Damage coming across. Gets you taking some damage. A flash used by Nuke Duck, but not getting much out of it. The fight has begun. Exila on the bottom side, caught by Mithy. 1 kill picked up. Nuke Duck does go down, and Vanillin has all the time in the world. Kicked back by Lee Sin, but kills coming across everywhere with Zoro 0 going down. 4v3, and SKP onto the Nexus right now. They're going to be 1 game up against Ninjas in Pyjamas on their way to the top 4 challenger.
Surprising victory once again. The NIP roster drops the first game in this best of 3.